Thank you, Bonnie. I'll call the meeting to order tonight at 6 p.m. And I believe I'm turning it over to our principal.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to start the meeting by if we can have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. We have Weston, Abby, and Thomas who are going to do this for us.
Very much. Well done, students. I'd like to welcome all the families here tonight. Thanks so much for being here to support your students and visit the board meeting. I believe up next we have a welcome song.
Good evening. Oh, sorry about that. My voice is a lot louder than I thought it would be. Good evening and welcome, distinguished school board members and boarding families. My name is Jason Garcia and it is my privilege to be the music teacher here at Ptarmigan Ridge Elementary. So in preparation for the Cultural Unity Fair in May, fourth graders have been learning a Maori welcome song from New Zealand. In the Maori language, tonight, fourth graders from Miss Oslin's and Miss Warren's class will perform this song for you. These classes were chosen because they were further along in their learning. Now I'd like to introduce our student speakers who will introduce the song. And I know it's really awkward to push your bodies like that, so if you really need to turn your chair around, feel free to do that.
Hello, my name is Thomas Grimshaw. I am a fourth grade student in Ms. Osling's class. Welcome to Ptarmigan Ridge. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to perform for you. In music, we have been learning about the Maori people from New Zealand. It is a widely held belief that long ago, people came to New Zealand from the Pacific Island in large canoes. They called themselves Maori, which means people of the land. The Maori shared a deep connection to Polynesian people who lived on the islands throughout the Pacific, including native Hawaiians.
Hello, my name is Adeline Morris. I'm a fourth grade student in Miss Warren's class. Tonight, we will be performing Karangitiara, a welcome song in the Maori language. This song was originally written to welcome Maori soldiers who fought in Europe during World War I. Here are the lyrics translated in English. Call out, and welcome, the people of the land. All you multitudes welcome to a gathering of love for all you people. Within us, compassion and pain are deeply felt. We hope you enjoy our performance.
you may retrieve your children now.
Mr. Garcia for an excellent performance. As we have some families exit, we have some that will be staying with us to teach you a little bit about what we're doing here at PTR to meet our academic goals. And as Mr. Garcia said, our students will be performing that song this year at our Colford Community Fair on May 1st. And he's been working with all of our fourth graders to get them prepared for that. Thank you to all of our families who are able to join us. And I'm going to turn it over to President Thibodeau for some business.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia, and any students who are still left. That was fantastic. All right, the next item on our agenda forward is our calendar and public records request. Any comments? None? Thank you. And with that, I will turn it back over to Principal Mesa for our Ptarmigan Ridge Elementary School Board report.
Thank you, and again, welcome. My name is Nikki Mesa, and I am the principal here at Ptarmigan Ridge. I'm really excited to share with you all the things that have been happening at PTR, and also a little bit later to have our students actually teach you things that they've been learning. So we're going to begin today by just going through where we started. Last year was my first year at PTR, and we really focused on just belonging, developing a sense of belonging here at PTR so that everybody felt welcomed. After the year and meeting with our leadership team, we decided that we wanted to narrow that down even further to how are we connecting. PTR has gone through quite a bit of changes from last year to this year. We've increased in our student body and our classroom teachers. Currently, we have approximately 730 students with approximately 100 staff members. And so one of the things is, with that many people, how are we really connecting? How are we developing that sense of belonging, but how are we connecting not only with our students in our community, but how are we connecting with each other? So on our first day back in August, during our Richmond Day, all of our staff were present. And we decided that we really needed to make some commitments. What does it look like here at PTR to really connect? So we talked about what's the difference between staff to staff, staff to student, and staff to community. So as a whole 100 employee meeting, they all sat down, we were able to do walkabouts and really identify what's really important to us. And so we made some commitments. And you can see them up here. Staff is to really be present, make eye contact, say good morning, really use each other's names when we address each other. Also, starting our meeting and PLCs with really positive intent. We're here to learn together and to grow together. For staff to student, it is so important that we know our students' names. That when they walk in, you don't just hear good morning, you actually hear good morning, Knox. Welcome, we're so happy to have you here. And so that was really one of the goals that we all set up to achieve. And so as we walk through the halls, we really address them by name. Also ongoing of teaching just clear expectations. What does it mean to be a student at PTR? What does it look like? What does it sound like? And learning student names, right, like I said, and then giving specific and intentional feedback. So instead of good job or we're really happy you're here, it's hey, I'd love to see that smile on your face as you walk in the door. That smile actually makes me smile. We're so happy you're here. And so we've really focused on that, as well as just our staff to community communication. How are teachers communicating with our staff, our community? How are we enlisting families to come to PTR and actually be part of our community, and what does that look like? And then to increase in community events and just having really open student conferences and increase our attendance. And I'm happy to say that at our first conferences, we had 94% of our families attend. We have conferences coming up next week, and we are really looking for that 100%. So as a staff and student body, this is really what we look for, and this is communicated and revisited and talked about, and we continue to practice those behaviors. I'm going to turn it over to our assistant principal, Ms. Hill, to talk about what it also looks like at PTR.
Thank you. So when we think about that connectedness, we think about right here with our students and that every day and building on that. And the things that we've been doing here to really focus on that. Student celebrations, we have Mountaineer tickets here where students can be recognized for for a number of things, but especially our 4 commitments to be kind, safe, respectful, and responsible, and staff can assign those. We are starting to see our students use their voice to recognize that with each other, and we pull those and recognize those, very specifically naming every morning what actions students are doing here at school, and building that connection there. We have, this middle picture is one of our groups of student leadership. We made a big shift in leadership last year. Every single 5th grader has an opportunity to participate in leadership here at Ptarmigan, and that is encouraged. Every month we rotate that through classes, and the work that they do is kind of specific to what's going on that month. So they really are driving our spirit days. If you happen to be here tomorrow, we'll all be in our cozy clothes because we got 100 Mountaineer tickets, and the students said that's how they wanted to celebrate. So come and expect some coziness. And they pick all kinds of spirit weeks for us and how we want to recognize that. We have an interesting project going on right now, bucket fillers. Nikki and I had a great opportunity to read to all classrooms here at our school about kind words and actions and filling each other's bucket and not dipping out of buckets. And so students have drops that they can fill out when they want to say, hey, this really filled my bucket, someone filled my bucket today. Staff are participating. I came across a little one today. I said, where are you going, buddy? I'm going to the reset room. Someone just dumped out my whole bucket and I need a minute. So really working through many of those things that we're doing to connect with our students, but help them connect with each other and recognize each other in those moments. So.
And currently we have over 3,000 raindrops that our students have filled out to recognize not only each other, but also staff. I got one from a student today, and it's always a nice reminder of how we're focusing on the positive and building those relationships. Now I'm going to dive into our first goal at PTR around academic growth. One of the things that we've really focused on this year is developing our professional learning communities. That is where our teams of teachers are really getting together to plan out work or plan out the unit of study and what students will be learning. And that's been done through shared leadership, really working through our leadership team to develop that within their PLCs. So I'd like to welcome Candace Elliott up to speak to you about that process.
Hi, I do not like microphones, but I'm going to do my best here. And I have notes, but my glasses are way back there, so I can see well enough. Just bear with me here. So first of all, our leadership team started way back in August, determining how we could best serve teachers in order to meet students' needs. And one of the ways that we did this was by pulling our leadership team together and really focusing on gathering teacher voices so we could build that empowerment and agency within teachers. So beginning in August, we started planning our Enrichment Day. And Enrichment Day was filled with multiple opportunities for learning for teachers. And one of those was focused on the PLC process. And part of that PLC process is unit planning. Now, this was an overview, and we really didn't have a chance to dive into each component. But then when we met as a leadership team in September and looked at our feedback from the enrichment day, the survey that we sent out to teachers and asked them to give us feedback on, we discovered that the unit planning, specifically backwards planning, in order to meet students' needs, was something that teachers were really interested in. And so we used not just that, but our other feedback information to really set the course of staff development for the year. And then in December, so grade level teams responded to another survey because we'd done a lot of work right up to this point. And they sent out another survey and said, how's your PLC process going? And how comfortable do you feel with each piece of the process? And one thing that came back was that teams really wanted to know more about backwards planning and how to design units. So that's what we focused on for our enrichment day in February. So a lot of teacher voice, a lot of opportunities for them to respond. Thank you. Oh. Let me go back one. Oh. So this is our enrichment day in February. Some of them are. The first thing we did is we tried to differentiate between what is backwards planning versus just lesson prep. And really the difference is focusing on standards, focusing on the unit itself, what does proficiency look like for that standard, how do we assess it, and then how do we design a unit that teaches the skills that we need students to learn. And whereas, lesson prep is our making copies, it's looking at our curriculum that we have in front of us in order to be prepared to teach those lessons. So we did that process, and you can see on this picture down here on the far right, we had T-charts out and had teachers actually write everything on sticky notes and put them on either side. And they did this in teams in order to differentiate between the two. And there were some that, that were more difficult to place than others. And the next step in this process then, was for each team, each grade level team, to develop this document that looks at the 4 elements of backwards planning and then defines what that looks like for their team. So, for example, this one here, which happens to have my handwriting on it. I was working with 5th grade, and I'm like, ah. But, so for example, the first one is, unpacking the standards. What does that actually look like if we're able to come into your PLC, into your grade level team, and see what would that actually look like? And then the next one is actually taking the assessment and deciding where are the misconceptions that students might develop? Is this assessment actually measuring what we want it to? And then the other steps are actually identifying key vocabulary. Then you get into planning the unit, right? Designing the unit, and then going into lesson design and lesson planning. This was a very valuable process for teachers. And I heard all day long how grateful people were to be given the time to do this as a team. Because the next step was to then identify, okay, what's our next unit coming up that we can use this template for, and then being given time to start that planning work. The reason I'm here is because I'm a special education teacher. And so how does this connect with the work that we do in special education? One of the most important ways that it connects is that we can make sure that we're teaching those prerequisite skills that students need in order to be successful in that unit. We can also teach the academic vocabulary that goes along with the unit, and also just making that connection for them that what we're doing is similar to, is giving them the support that they need in order to be successful in the classroom. Some of the next steps that the things we could do next in order to support students even further is the collaboration that we can do on the front end of this backwards planning to make sure that we have accommodations and modifications built into the lesson itself in order to give more access points for students. I think that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Elliott. And we're really excited for you to see how our second grade team has really backwards planned their unit in ELA. And your students, we have students here who are going to walk you through their writing assignment that they have done and completed. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Hill to talk more about our community partnerships and connections.
All right, so as you heard Nikki say, we really kicked off our year with this focus on connections, and so our second goal is really specifically around that, connecting with our community, building partnerships with our families here at school, and so we really wanted to focus on increasing our family and community involvement in our school-based activities with a more structured outreach around volunteerism. And so this year, as parents expressed interest in volunteering, we did a lot of recruiting. As they expressed interest, they got an email from Nikki saying, hey, thanks for filling that out. Here's some options. How would you love to be involved? We got a lot of great feedback from families like, oh, that's so helpful. Now I know some specific ways that I can be here and be in partnership and supporting. And so we, I will say I had to write them down so I didn't forget, our really big celebration around that is the growth in approved volunteers. In 21-22, we had 183. Last year, we had 336, and this year we sit at a whopping 541. So yeah, that's really exciting and quite a celebration. It's been so fun to have families and community members here. You'll see them in all kinds of corners. We had recently a very specific night of volunteer training for anyone who'd like to support on the playground. And we were able to offer translation services and interpretation services for anyone, so we really want to be working towards making sure that all of our families can have access to supporting their student and can come and be a part of those trainings. So we had a small but mighty group who had some interest. We have some regular volunteers now out on our playground. It's been really very exciting. So we look forward to that. We see that increasing if you were here at our family reading night. Those kinds of things just continue to be packed here. We are heading into conferences, and we're going to be, we have an exit ticket for all of our families. We want to get some information from them about how they're feeling about the efforts here and in connection and things here at our school. There's been a variety of other kinds of things, and I'm going to actually turn it over to Mr. Garcia and Mrs. Osling to share about a few projects that have been going on.
Thanks, Mrs. Hill. So the specialist team, which includes a music teacher, myself, PE teacher, the librarian, and the art teacher, we collaborate to support the school community by facilitating assemblies that bring students and families and community together. Our assemblies have a high level of student voice and engagement, and we generally have things like sing-along performances, poetry, and choral reading, and all students create art that is used to decorate the gym, which is our main venue for assemblies. And we bring our community together by inviting PTR families to attend and be a part of the Veterans Day and MLK assemblies. For example, we delivered Veterans Day assembly invitations to the Old Soldiers Home and the Senior Center, as well as the Retirement Village. We created a Google form to allow families to honor veterans and their families at the assemblies. And these veterans were featured in assembly presentations with photographs and details about their service to share with our students and community. We also communicated with the leader of the Boy Scout Troop 5660, which has scouts who are students at PTR. The troops were invited to participate in the posting of the colors, which is a way to honor the flag during the assembly. And students made thank you cards for veterans in the community and presented these to those in attendance, and the remainder were delivered to the veterans facilities in the community. So for both Veterans Day and MLK assemblies, we encourage participation from our families by advertising in the classroom and in school newsletters. But beyond all the assemblies that we collaborate on, we also collaborate on something that we started last year, and that is the 5th grade extravaganza. It's a way to showcase the 5th graders and their talents in multiple ways. It's a way for them to sign up for, oh, I want to do this with Mrs. Huff, and I want to do this with Mrs. Carlson. And so we all have our separate activities that we are in charge of, and we are helping to bring those students along in presenting this extravaganza of talent at the end of the year. And from my point, my students have been working all year long on recorder skills, so that is their way to present what they have learned. So that's another thing that we bring our community together and showcase our students' talents. Thank you very much.
All right, I'm Mrs. Osling. I get to teach 4th grade. And so something this year, we have a social emotional curriculum called Second Step. And one of the early lessons in Second Step is all about setting a classroom goal for the whole class to work together to try to achieve this goal. Usually it's around behavior or academics or something like that, but this amazing group of 4th graders that I have this year, which you get to see some of them today, they wanted to do something in the community. And so no matter which way I tried to steer them, they kept coming back to they wanted to help people in the community. So they started with a food drive, but we do that in November as a whole school. So I got the wild idea to show them a Kid President video. Anybody ever heard of Kid President before? He's amazing. He's now in college. But in that video, he talks about Socktober. And one of the least donated things to charity organizations that help people in the community is socks. And so Kid President actually started something called Socktober, and the kids were like, that would be so cool. And so in October, we focused on a community organization called the Wishing Well. The Wishing Well helps foster children within Pierce County that are in need of clothes, furniture, toys, those types of things. And so they decided, you know what, we're going to set a goal of 200 pairs of socks that we're going to bring in October. Well, they crushed that goal within like 10 days. And so they decided to set their goal to 500 pairs of socks. Well, by October 20th, we were already at 500 pairs of socks. So by the end of October, my 4th grade class and their families and staff members had brought in 644 pairs of socks to donate to the Wishing Well for foster children in Pierce County. So that was super amazing. The kids totally ran the whole thing. They were counting them. They were doing, that's our little chart up there. It didn't get to the 644, but they did all of the filling in of the chart. They ran the whole thing, which was super neat. They were able to see how that was helping kids like them in their communities. So it was super cool.
One last really cool community outreach that happened was our 2nd grade team around the holidays. They made ornaments and personalized notes and delivered those to the senior center. They had so many. They were used as decoration. They were used as table settings. They were able to really brighten the holidays for so many people. And so that was really fun to see those students being excited about reaching out and sharing that kindness. I'm going to turn it back over to Nikki for goal 3.
Wonderful. We're so excited about reaching out to the community, and as Ms. Osling said, her students developed that goal and really led the charge to get community members and families to donate. Our goal number 3 is really focused on our whole child. One of the things that we use here as a measure is student panorama surveys. And what that is at a K2 level, it's a teacher perception survey, but it asks questions regarding social emotional learning. And then we have our 3-5 students who are self-reporting. So our students take that, and one of the things that we really look at is how do students feel here about their learning, how do they feel about belonging here at PTR, and what we noticed was our students were not as confident in their ability to learn new tasks or do really hard things. And so we set out really focused on building student agency and ownership in their learning. When they get a challenge that they're not sure how to work through, how do we really build their skills so that they understand that they can do those hard things? We've seen growth from our fall scores at 56% to up to 64%. And in our 3 through 5, we've seen growth from 41% to 44%. As a staff this year, we started to read a book called Developing Student Ownership, really highlighting some characteristics and student behaviors that develop those skills, and how are we really promoting those and developing those skills in our students. So I had Mrs. Osling and her fourth graders, as well as we have the privilege of having a student teacher, Mrs. Katie, I was going to say her last name because I don't want to say it wrong. Mrs. V is here, and they're going to talk about really how they're developing that student ownership within our students. Bear with us a moment. Right, friends, so we're facing forward. You guys got this. Just pass this out, please. So we're going to talk about a couple things here. The first thing that we really try to do, and I know every single teacher within PTR in the entire district, the first thing you have to do with kids so they can develop agency is create a classroom culture that they feel safe to take risks, safe to share their thinking, that they feel confident that nobody's going to make fun of them or laugh at them, or it's okay if you make mistakes. Mistakes are learning opportunities. So there's a couple of different ways in my own classroom that we do this. I know every single teacher within PTR does these things in their own way. But in our classroom, we first start the year with expectations. And the kids come up with these expectations. So you can see Mr. Oliver and Mr. Gael are holding up expectations that they have made of their classmates and also of me as their teacher. Something I'm planning on starting next year is expectations they have for themselves of what they want their classroom community to be like. And we keep these up the entire school year, so there's gonna be bumps in the road. There's going to be times, like in March, where it can be tough at times, or we start to get tired or that type of thing. And we can always look at these expectations and be like, oh, this is what you guys expect of yourselves. This is what you expect of me. What can we do to solve this? So this is completely student generated. They come up with it themselves. Another thing we do. Oh, you did. My bad. I apologize. And another thing that we do is we do morning meetings every single day. This is worked into our social emotional time within the school day. And my morning meeting, we always go over and you have a paper that has it. That was ours today. We go over a fun fact. We get to take a poll, so we're learning each other's likes and dislikes. We have a social emotional video that we watch that goes over different types of topics. We're getting into perseverance pretty soon because we're getting into a very tough part of the school year. That stretch between spring break and Memorial Day can be a tough one, especially with SBA testing in there. And we also get a chance for them to share out things that they are thinking and how they would solve problems. And so doing that kind of activity, again, makes them feel comfortable, makes them feel safe. Some other things that we do, gentlemen, please stand up, is we have a characteristic of the month. This month it has been empathy. There you go. And we also have a quote of the week. Some of our classroom jobs are completely student-led. A couple of our students are wearing brag tags. Our classroom scouts are the ones that are in charge of passing those out, so kids get to wear them, and when adults ask them, hey, how did you earn that brag tag? They get to say, oh, I did this, this, and this is not. So that is completely student picked and that kind of thing. Another thing that we do is we do a quote of the week. So this week is, if speaking is silver, then listening is gold. And it has to go with empathy. And so our classroom scouts will choose who the quote of the week, who they think in class is representing that quote of the week. And we take their picture, it goes up on our quote of the week board, and they get to take that quote home, which is super cool. And so another thing that we do is we really involve them in the learning. And so one thing you're going to see tonight is you're going to see a number talk. So something we agreed to as a staff is, instead of doing like a learning target, success criteria, that whole thing, we've changed it to what's our what, what's our how, what's our why. And so Ms. Manera, this is our what, our how, and our why of what we're going to be doing tonight with a number talk, where kids get to talk through their thinking with math. And so Ms. Manera, she is my student teacher. She's from the University of Idaho. She's been with us since January. She'll be with us until May. Nice long time. And she's going to talk about just the in and outs of a number talk, super quick.
I'll try to make it brief because I know we're a little short on time. Basically, a number talk is just a conversation about math. And so a task is posed, and so you'll see a dot talk, a number of the day talk, and then just an equation, and all of it is mental math. And so how it works is there's this private think time where they brainstorm what they think they're going to do as a strategy. Then I have them talk with their table mates and kind of share their thinking. And then we'll have a whole class discussion, and I'll select kids to share their thinking, and then I'll just scribe their thinking on the board. So it's super cool because it's student-led, I'm just facilitating it, and so they get to teach each other the strategies that they use to solve math problems, and it shows that there's creativity in math. Because when I went through school, I was kind of taught there's one way to do math, and that's the only way. And so this has been really cool to have them show a sense of agency and to see that there's creativity and multiple ways to solve math problems. And it also builds their number sense, and so they understand the relationship between numbers, how they're greater than, less than, or equal to, and place value in all of those things, and then it improves their mental math capabilities. And so we're going to have a little routine over in the corner for one of our rotations where we'll share that with you.
All right, last little bit of adult talk, and then we're going to get you to the good stuff, which is our students doing the work tonight. So thanks for being so patient. Our fourth goal is really around our student support systems. We found ourselves as a school of improvement as it related to the success of our multi-language learning students, and so we set a very focused goal to ensure their success. We wanted to move from 49% of our students who were 2 grade levels or below to 0. And as you can see, we're making some really important growth here. We have increases both in our K3 and our 4-5 of students who are at grade level, 1 year below, and still have some work to do with those students who are a couple years below. One of the really important parts of that is ensuring that all of our staff are considered highly trained and highly capable to be supporting that group of students. And so we have had trainers here in our building. It's called GLAD training. You're going to get a glimpse of it back with kindergarten team and what that looks like. But it's really awesome for all students, but specifically supports the language development of our multi-language learners. So we've already had a really great success. We were recently notified that we're no longer a Tier 3 school there. So it's really exciting to see us making that progress, and we know we're just going to keep pushing and really achieve that goal for all of our students. So I'm going to turn it over to Nikki, who's going to get us going, I think, with our rotations.
All right, thank you so much for everyone for presenting. All right, so now is the best time. You get to actually see this in action with our students. So we're going to have 3 rotations at 7 minutes each, and we put you in groups. But one of the things I do want to point out, as Ms. Hill had said, we are really focused on filling each other's buckets. So we did give you some little raindrops if you want to write cards or little notes to our students as you hear them present. Also, on that paper, you know what students you'll be seeing. So we're going to start our first rotation. We have Director Thibodeau, Director Madigan. You will be going to Mrs. Brown and Mrs. Stewart, second grade students to start. Ms. Osling and Veneras, fourth grade. Math Talk, Mr. Hasselbuehler and Director Merlot and Mr. Rao will be joining them. And then for our group 3, Ms. Lickey's Kindergarten Math Strategies, we have Director Kinsler, Mr. Lee, Ms. Christensen, and Ms. Westover. You can be starting there. Please listen for the bell when the timer goes off. And please, families, please get up and go to any rotation you would like to go to and observe our students. Give another round of applause for our students for their presentations. And to our teachers for really leaning in and developing this work with our students. Thank you so much, Bart, for joining us this evening to learn more about what's happening at PTR. We're so grateful to have you here. I do apologize for running a little over, as we have lots to say and lots to share, and so watching the students, as you can see, they're really excited about the learning that they're doing here, and we're so grateful to have such amazing staff and students here. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm going to turn it over.
Thank you, Principal Mesa. Thank you, students. You did a wonderful job. I will turn it back to the board. Comments?
Well, I have a lot. First of all, I thank Jack for being willing to share with his numbers when he wasn't feeling comfortable about sharing it with his words, because we all think different ways. Love the Farmer Brown was one of my all-time favorites. Didn't know about that one, so I'm going to have to find that one. And then, love that you're doing the bucket fillers, but having filled the bucket lately is one of my all-time favorite. I read that for 3 years. Very, very happy that you're surveying the staff on how things are working together. Whether it's surveying or executing to whatever, thanks so much for maybe doing that, boys. I love the family outreach. That was great. Exit tickets for families. Whoa! And thank you for the senior center, the soldiers home, and thanks for letting the kids use their own agency. It's so great stuff. I have a lot of notes I feel I first want to say thank you so much to all the students that were here and showing us your work. I know you guys are headed home, but thank you very much. And for Principal Mason and Vice Principal Hill, some early on notes I had for your goal number 1. I just wanted to say, I loved how you're giving teacher voices, and you took, your leaders are taking the feedback and actually doing something with it. Sometimes I feel like we ask for feedback and then, we might hear it, but we don't actually act on it. So hearing that, I think, is just amazing, and it gives everybody all that buy-in and a good teamwork there. And I really, really appreciated hearing about backwards planning and That's one of the things, me sitting up here, I don't get a lot of vision to, so having that bit of insight, I really actually treasured it, so that was really awesome. And your community partnerships and connections, the Wishing Well, the Socktober, just great activities with the outreach, and as always, it's just wonderful to hear from the kids. Great job, thank you very much.
I would echo what Melissa said. I'm ecstatic to hear about your progress academically, and importantly that you continue to ask the kids if they believe in their own abilities and that they have the confidence to try harder things. I think that's really important. Question on that, are you going to survey them again later this year? Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, and it's free. We have the panorama 3 times a year. Follow the district.
Perfect. I can't remember how many times, so thank you for that. And Mr. Garcia, I don't know if he's still here, just truly a gift to our district. I really appreciate his leadership in teaching our students songs in another language. I love that. That was excellent. And I just want to encourage you to keep going. You're really doing powerful and good things here with our students. And a 94% participation rate on student conferences, to me, that's reflective of the families feeling welcomed and encouraged to participate in their kids' education and what you have going on here. I hope you hit 100%. That would be fantastic, but I think the work you're doing is showing. It's showing in sometimes in different ways, and I really like that.
This is good because they say everything, and I get to say, hey, same thing that they said. This has now happened twice, and I'm like, this is awesome. I like it all the way on the end. They say all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, great job. What I just wanted to say, a shout out, and over here with the students that were reading, phenomenal. I mean, they're just sitting there telling their story, and intriguing to them, right? Or that I sat there. Every story that I heard, I was like, okay, yeah, tell me about it. Give me more, right? And they just did a phenomenal job. Same over here on the math, and I thought that was, to watch how that goes down, it just blows your mind because I'm older. So I'm like, math is one way, right? That's it. Now you got to rethink and so many different ways of doing it because you still get to the same answer, and it's awesome to see that. The student teacher, I thought she did phenomenal. I don't know if she's still here or not, but she did a great job. So that was awesome. I wanted to say, good job to her. And then the story back here, that was coming in there. The third ones, that was funny because they're just like ready to slide. They've already told it twice, and they're like, "This is what's going on." But it's still it's awesome to watch how they do that. And then you both are doing a great job here, and just what's going on with Ptarmigan's amazing to see it. So keep it up.
Appreciate you spending time with us today, letting us get a peek inside your world here at PTR. It's fun for us. The next item on our agenda